Hell of a thing. Mississippi now sues welfare queen Brett Favre. Let's put it up full mass. They coming, Brett. The Mississippi state auditor has filed court papers. Now, he promised he would do this if Brett did not give him the money back. Brett has messed around and found out. So Brett Favre has to repay the state, according to the document, for welfare money that the auditor says he stole. He improperly spent on projects backed by the retired NFL quarterback. These projects, along with a band of other corrupt individuals who have pleaded guilty, were deemed to be unlawful. So let's put up the auditor. Now, he's a Republican. We don't hold that against him in this situation. He's a Republican, and he goes by Shad White. However, his real name is Shadrach. I kid you not. The man's name is Shadrach. I know you all call him Shad in Mississippi. His government name is Shadrach. You all thought the auditor was Mr. Shad White. He just told you his name is actually Shadrach. Now, Shadrach is a certified fraud examiner serving as the 42nd state auditor of Mississippi. A Republican, Mr. White, was appointed by Phil Bryant, who was sworn in 2018. Phil got his own problems. Auditor Shadrach White's demand of nearly $730,000 from Favre is the latest twist in the long-running legal battle over money that was supposed to help some of the poorest people in one of the poorest states in the nation. Favre, a Pro Football Hall of Fame member who lives in Mississippi, filed lawsuits in 2023 accusing Mr. White and two national sportscasters of defaming him in public discussions about welfare misspending. Oh, that's just classic. Mr. Favre, instead of owning up to the insanity of what is before us, you decide to sue the individuals who are telling the truth. Why did you return some of the money then, Mr. Favre? You see, in the court of law, that can be considered evidence of a guilty conscience. Because if the money was not ill-gotten, why would you ever return money that you earned? There's more. White said in 2020 that Favre had improperly received $1.1 million. $1.1 million in speaking fees from a nonprofit organization that spent welfare money, money that was supposed to go to struggling individuals who actually paid into the system and need it back, that spent welfare money with approval from the Mississippi Department of Human Resources. This is called a conspiracy, meeting of the minds. The money from the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families program, TANF, was to go toward a volleyball arena at the University of Southern Mississippi. Favre agreed to lead fundraising efforts for the facility at his alma mater, where his daughter started playing on the volleyball team in 2017. You see the connection here? There's more. Quote, Favre had no legal right to the possession or control of this $1.1 million. Vice attorneys wrote in the court filing Monday. Favre repaid $500,000 to the state in May of 2020 and $600,000 in October of 2021. But the new court filing said he still owes $729,790 because interest caused growth in the original amount he owed. Quote, it boggles the mind that Mr. Favre could imagine he is entitled to the equivalent of an interest-free loan of $1.1 million in taxpayer money, especially money intended to benefit the poor. That's what Shadrach said. The Associated Press left voicemail messages for two of Favre's attorneys. This was on Monday. They did not immediately respond. In October, a federal judge dismissed defamation suit. So remember, Favre had filed a defamation suit against Shannon Sharpe because Shannon Sharpe told the truth, former NFL player who's now a broadcaster. In May, he ended his lawsuit against sportscaster Pat McAfee, who is a former NFL punter, after McAfee apologized for on-air statements that Brett Favre had been stealing from poor people in Mississippi. So he gave an apology. Brett Favre dropped the lawsuit. So let me do this just for the record. Brett Favre, I wholeheartedly believe, sir, that you stole all of that money from poor people of Mississippi. And I promise you I won't apologize for that statement. There's more. Favre's defamation suit against Mr. White, who's the auditor, is still pending. And White's filing was a counterclaim. This was Monday, a counterclaim in that suit. Mississippi prosecutors have said millions of federal welfare dollars for low-income residents were squandered on projects supported by wealthy or well-connected people from 2016 to 2019. We gave you a list of those individuals in previous reporting. A lawsuit filed by the Department of Human Resources in 2022 said TANF money was improperly spent, including on projects Favre supported. $5 million for the volleyball arena and $1.7 million toward development of a concussion treatment drug. Completely illegal. Let's put up Brett Favre's picture again. And I just want to remind everyone of one thing. This man is suing people because they told the truth about him having welfare money illegally. Okay? So he sues them. He offers no remorse. He offers no sentiment of apology. He's acting as if none of this really happened. You know how many black women in particular get prosecuted for $50, $75, misappropriated? Selling food stamps is what they used to call it. We're talking about $50, $75, maybe $100. Okay? They get prosecuted. They get prosecuted by a local authority and or the federal government. Fraud, they call it. They call it fraud. He's still not facing criminal penalty as of yet. This is still a civil dynamic. However, his co-conspirators who said he was involved, they have faced criminal penalty, but not Brett Favre. He is still in a civil case. No criminal charges have yet been brought against Favre, although a former department director and other people have pleaded guilty to their part in the misspending. Put up the former director who allegedly helped orchestrate a lot of this and did in fact plead guilty. John Davis is who you're looking at. John Davis is a former Mississippi Department of Human Resources or Human Services director. This official pleaded guilty for conspiring to defraud. This is according to the federal government, FBI.gov. You can find this. Conspiring to defraud the state. Now remember, conspiring means you have to work with some other people. That's what that word means. Conspiring to defraud the state of Mississippi of millions of dollars in federal funds. According to court documents, John Davis, 54 of Jackson, Mississippi, and his co-conspirators fraudulently obtained and misused federal funds, including funds from two programs, TANF and the Emergency Food Assistance Program, for their personal use and benefit. At Davis's discretion, MDHS provided federal funds to two nonprofit organizations and then directed the two nonprofit organizations to fraudulently award contracts to various entities and individuals for social services that were never provided. Do you mean like speaking engagements that you never went to? Oh, okay. So that's part of the co-conspiracy of the criminal pleading, which means my question remains, why in the hell Brett Favre has not been charged with a crime? There's more. In addition, Davis caused the nonprofit organizations to disperse full or almost full payments pursuant to those sham contracts at or near the beginning of the contract period, regardless of whether any work had been performed and knowing that no significant service or services would be provided. Davis pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy. Once again, it means you're working with other people, to commit wire fraud, and to commit theft concerning programs receiving federal funds, and 1 count of theft concerning programs receiving federal funds. Why do you think they decided to engage in such a criminal enterprise? Number one, their disdain for the people the money was meant for. The money was meant for poor, struggling, economically struggling individuals in Mississippi. Because they don't care about that demographic, it created this barrier to compassion, sympathy, empathy. And then beyond that, because so many people were down with it. I mean, you had top officials galore, even a former governor seemingly. It was so many people down with it. It was almost like they couldn't get caught. Well, I'll be damned. That was actually part of one of the text messages between the co-conspirators. Is this going to be reported? Can somebody find out? Oh, no, of course not. So-and-so signed off on this. It's insane. All right, Sharon, that's your update. Thoughts here?
I'm glad that you ran out of details, because with each one, I got more and more nauseous. Yeah. Dr. Richey, this man is so brazen. He's worth $100 million, by the way, that after getting a sweetheart deal and not being charged criminally, which I still call for him to be charged criminally. I wonder if the media can find out is what he said, okay? Yep. Brett Favre, you are part of this fraud. It is Mississippi's largest public corruption scandal ever.
Yep.
Ever. And you mentioned the federal money, Doc. I want somebody to hold this white ex-football player, no longer the spokesperson for Wrangler jeans, accountable here. And it's just not happening. It's just not happening. And Shannon Sharp and McAfee, I'll say this, should have hit him with malicious prosecution. That statute exists in Georgia. And I don't know why this guy is still not facing it. It's just disgusting what he's gotten away with here. I don't want to hear about interest. I want him to pay penalties and fines. Mississippi is the poorest state in 20% of the people in Mississippi, almost 20%, Doc, are at the poverty or below level. It's the poorest state in the union.
Yeah. And because of the economic reality, it creates a social status that says, well, the individuals we're stealing from, they don't have a lot of power. They don't have a lot of pull. And this is why leadership matters. All you needed was one person in the room with integrity that could have broken all of that up. Just one person in that room with integrity. All right, well, at least they have one person who has integrity. That's the auditor of Mississippi. I'm actually very proud of his leadership.